Number three is going to need some cardboard. Right, I have one piece of cardboard in the house, which is this, which is lovely because it's gold and white on one side, but that's it, that's all I've got. So, first of all I need to measure my head. I'm going to move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Here I am. So if we're going to put a band around here for these sort of hats, you obviously need to know the measurement round your head, which is the, as we all know, circumference if it was a circle. Right, so it goes round like this. I haven't got my tape measure here, so I'm just going to use a piece of string like that. So that's the circumference of my head. So if I lay that out here, oh, that's actually quite handy because, look that way, dear. If you look at this piece of card, you can see that the circumference of my head comes to nearly the end here. And actually, if I just incorporate that piece, and because you need to cut it a bit longer, so that I can show you this piece of newspaper. You can't, well, you could join it like that, but to make it stronger, you want to overlap it a little bit like that. So I'm going to make this card longer than my head. So my head is to there. That comes to just about here. And I'm going to just continue along, so I've got that little bit there to overlap. Right. How deep do you want your band to be? It depends what you're going to do with it. If you're going to make it into a crown, obviously like this one, like that, or like that, you want to make it higher. But I'm going to make it just as an ordinary band, like this, because I want to make it into a basket at the bottom. So what am I going to do? I am going to just cut mine straight, and I'm not going to flare it out like that at all. So let me just do this basic one first to show you what I mean. And I think I'm going to have it, how deep is my basket going to be? I'm going to have it about here. Right, so I need to make sure I cut it in a straight line. What have I got that's about that size? I know what I'll do. So I'm going to use this piece of newspaper. I'm going to fold it on one edge. That's going to be that, and there, I'll fold it on the other edge. So I'm going to use that as my measurement. If you can see, I've just used a little piece of newspaper, so it'll be the same all the way along. So I'm just going to mark a little bit here, here, here. So I'm lining up with the bottom edge here, and then I'm marking on the top edge. Right, so I've got little lines all the way down here. I'm going to join them up with, oh my god, looking around, oh, I've got a piece of wood, as you do. I haven't got a ruler to hand, so this will do. So I'm going to just line up all these little lines that I've just drawn all the way along, and here. Right, that's my cutting edge. So again, just to emphasise, if you're very young, make sure you've got safe scissors, these with the blunt edges. If you're older, just be careful, don't cut your hand. I've done it so many times myself, I do know that it can be dangerous. So just cut along on that line. Right, this should be the perfect fit. So if I put it from the back, you can see there's just a little bit of an overlap, which is perfect. Gosh. So there. Right, so it needs to come to about there on me for it to just sit above my ears. Right, so it's about that much. So obviously there are different ways you can get it together. I'm just going to use sellotape. Right. And like that. Right, if you're going to use a stapler, which you could use, just make sure that the straight edge is on the inside and the two ends are on the outside, because the two ends can be scratchy and you don't want that near your face because it can cut you. Just a top tip. Right, that's that. So there we have the basis of my hat. Right. Alternatively, if you want to have a crown, and I do understand that's quite a popular choice, what I would do is turn it over. Right, let's find the midway point of here. So the join is at the back. So the way to find the midway point is use a piece of string or any piece of or ribbon or anything. Do it like, get one end here and then measure to the end. Holding that end, fold it in half. Take that back to the end, and wherever the end of the loop is, doing this in a very strange way, that's halfway. So I'm just going to mark that here. Right, so if you're making a lovely crown, that's where you want the highest point to be. Now, how you do your crown is entirely up to you. You can just do sort of pointy bits all the way round, rather like this crown here, but I always try and make life difficult for myself. I thought I'd make something that was a bit taller in the middle. So that's something. So let's just draw this up here. I'm going to do this in felt tip Sharpie. Incidentally, although I'm using a Sharpie, I would suggest you don't, because it is a permanent marker, and if you get it on anything, it doesn't come off. Right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a point here. Just make it a bit more difficult, why not? And just do a point here, a little bit lower. And then just have it go round, down. Right, if you struggle with drawing, just do a rough drawing like this. This is a very rough drawing. And then you want it to be the same on this side. So, thing to do, I've done this in a dark pen, so it's actually quite easy to see. So, let me just get a piece of paper. Put the edge of the paper, just make this a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Now we want the crown to be symmetrical. We've drawn the centre line here. So let's place this paper, the edge of the paper on the centre line, and you should be able to see, hopefully, the drawing that I've done here. What you do is just draw it like this. So there, right. Then flip it over nothing to, so what you can do is if you just quickly cut along that edge there. Okay, so the other thing about cutting is you don't have to cut all in one line. So sometimes it's easier to cut the pointy bits and then go back and just chop out the bits like that. I'm going to do this with the black underneath, it's clear. So just go to the pointy bits going in that direction, snip, snip. Right, there we are. So that's one side. Okay. Take a pen and literally just outline where the edge of your paper is, and then you will have a perfectly symmetrical tiara or crown. Depends whether you're a princess or a queen. Right, so you can see I thought I was accurate there and actually I wasn't, where I had a go at drawing it freehand. So that's now with the pattern. Now I'm going to cut this out and I'll show you when I cut it. There we are, finished all the cutting out, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so there are two things you can do with your tiara. You can either have it just straight up and down like that, in which case it sits like that, or what you can do is just tilt these up a little bit like that. You see what I'm doing? I'll show you the inside, it's probably easier. Tilt it upwards like that so they cross over at the back, and that way you get a slight, you see a slight flare at the sides, which I think, I don't know, I prefer it. I think it looks slightly better, and also you get it sits a little bit differently on the head. Obviously you have to try it on your actual head to see whether it fits you properly or not. And just, I think that looks quite nice like that. So I'm going to do mine like that, and I'm going to do this stapling it, and again, so staple it, seam sort of back to front, so that you've got, you see the straight bit on the inside and the two spiky bits on the outside. And what you can do to make it even safer is put a bit of sticky tape or something over those bits on the outside, just to make sure that they're super safe. So that's that one, that's the crown, and we can do decorations on that on the next video.